I want anyone who's been through what I've been through or anything similar to know this. It's time to take your power back. It's time to find your voice. It's time to start being happy and living again. This isn't about them. It isn't about anyone else. This is about you. Finding your voice, keeping it, and never letting anyone silence it again. It's about reclaiming your power, loving yourself, and living your life to the fullest. Hey YouTube, what's going on? Welcome to my channel. I'm Indigo, and welcome to All Things Indigo. So, as you guys can see, I'm outside. I'm outside enjoying some wonderful weather while we still have it because, New York City tends to start getting cold, probably in another week or so. Out here just enjoying the beautiful view. Uh, yeah, just enjoying the grass. Worried about this squirrel sitting over here and, going around me. I'm gonna try not to be too nervous, but anywho, today, welcome to everyone. First of all, let me just say welcome, welcome, welcome to everyone. Thank you for joining my channel. And so I wanted to go into a little bit more in depth about my mom and some things. I told you guys my reason for making these videos is to tell my story and make strides in healing from them. And I found that at first, when I first started doing these YouTube videos, it was really hard for me. I still haven't watched back like my first couple of videos. Those were definitely the roughest for me, mentally, emotionally. Um, yeah, but I found that I feel better that I've been talking about this. The things that has went on. The abuse started when I was a little girl. My mom and stuff like that. My uncle, things like that. And then I married. You know, uh, just a miserable person who wasn't happy with himself. So he took it out on me. So I was in an abusive relationship there as well. So I wanted to talk mainly right in this particular video about my mom and some of the things that I had been through with her. Some of the things she's actually told us, and let me just say that. So my mom was, before she started smoking crack, um, years ago, I guess when we were younger, she was doing cocaine, and she actually told me and my sister a story. She told the story to us when we were like, I want to say 12, 13, something like that. She told this story to us about me and my sister getting into her cocaine. Now, it's crazy because I don't know how much she had. And let me just say this: if I look a little flustered, it's because I was hot walking up this hill. But anywho, but yeah, she said me and my sister got into her cocaine. Um, yeah. Now that's neglectful in itself. And she basically said we mixed it with grits. How, I don't know why. I don't know how or what happened, but as she was telling us this story, it showed my she was so mad. She was laughing about it. Do you know how dangerous that is? Looking back on it, it's like you were upset that we got into it and mixed it with grits. First of all, where were we? Where were you? Uh, where was the grits? Where was the cocaine? Like that, all of this happened. I'm not sure. I don't understand, right? But it's just it. These are some of the neglectful things that happened. She told us stories. When she was getting high, nothing. There was just no care in the world. So she told us stories about things we did, and like looking back in hindsight on it, it's like, what? You're proud to tell this story? Suppose we would have got into it any other way, ate it. And who knows if we did or didn't, she probably ain't tell us that part. I'm not even sure, but anywho, that was one story she actually told us. There was another story where um, she said that we got into my uncle who was he was an alcoholic as well as a crackhead, or he was a drug addict. We got into his beer when we was younger. She was telling the story about how we drunk some, and my sister got so sick that they had to take her to the hospital. So I'm assuming it was an overdose. Had to be, right? You know, so, and she's like, but you was hanging out. She's telling me I was hanging like that was something fun. We were young. We were young. We were babies. You know, I how do you think that that is okay to tell? How do you think that's a story that's okay to tell? And I remember just smiling because being younger when she told us this, I don't know what else we're supposed to do with this information. So that was another thing of neglect. Now, let me just say this. Eh, So back then, I believe ACS was called adult. I mean, no, it was the social. I don't even know what the ACS stood for, but I believe back. I'm not sure if it was still BCW or did it change over to ACS at that point in time. But they did come and someone definitely called. When we were about 10 or 11. And I remember the lady was asking us questions about my mom. Someone called and said, I guess they said my mother was still on heavy drugs and things like that. We were so scared though that, we told the person, no, I did. My sister really didn't really talk. I was like, no, she just smokes weed and stuff. We see her rolling up weed and everything. She's okay. No, yeah, and that was basically it. Once we told it, because we had heard so many disturbingly horrific stories about foster care, you know, when we were younger, because we knew a young girl that was in foster care. And she told some bad stories where they made her eat dirt, and she wasn't eating, and she wasn't getting no, they wasn't bathing her. Like, it was really bad. So it was scary. So imagine thinking you would rather take your chances with your drug addict mother and, and the abuse that you suffered there and the neglect and not eating the proper foods. Like, imagine wanting to just take your chances there. Like, you having to be a young child making that decision, like, should I take my chances with foster care or should I, you know, uh, take my chances with my mom, who is abusive and neglectful. So yeah, that's what we did, and yeah. Oh, there was a time my mother also told us, like, she had us. We were younger. We were young. I guess we were toddlers, and she took us and hung us, like, had put us in a window with no guards on it, and she took us and let us, like, she had us in the window, and my uncles was yelling out the window, yelling up to the window, don't, like stay right there. And she told us our uncles rushed upstairs because they thought we were in the windows by ourselves. Now, this, you know what this tells me? Number one, my mother was very neglectful for them to even, like, but I would assume too. So she was very neglectful for them. They ran upstairs. This is what she's telling us. They ran upstairs and found, out that she was holding us, that it wasn't. But, like, who wants to do stuff like that? So it's just like, a lot of things that's like, what was wrong? Something was mentally wrong with her too, And like I said before in a video, like one of my previous videos, I've had found out she was abused sexually as well, you know. Um, and I found that, she actually produced a child out of that sexual assault that happened to her. And I don't know where the child is at. From what I hear from heard from other family members a couple of years ago, that um, the child is with that side of the family. I guess she didn't want anything to do with the child. And I'm not blaming her. I'm not, saying she should have, she shouldn't have, because that's not my place to say. But I understand the mental, uh, instability she went through. I understand that now that I'm older, you know. So it's like, you know, I just wish, back then, the grandparents, my grandparents, everything was like, pray about it and leave it in God's hands. Now, I'm not saying that's the wrong thing to do, but I'm saying that prayer without works is dead, right? Because it does say that in the Bible. So it would have been maybe a little better if she would have gotten some type of therapy. My grandmother would have, but I know she didn't know no better, because a lot of parents, when you don't have the right tools, not a lot of times you do what you can do, or you do what you do what you can do, or you just go with the flow. You don't know what to do. You don't have the patience, you don't have the instructions, although none of us are born with instructions, but you try to do the right thing. Yeah. And uh recently I had stopped speaking to my mother because you know it just I struggle still with having a relationship with her. Like, um it's not that I am still healing from the neglect and abuse and things, but it doesn't affect me as much. Like I said, after I wrote that closure letter, and then I realized that she's never going to be anybody other than who she has been. It's up to me to, you know, want to deal with her, or, not. So, um, so I'm like, I choose to deal with her sometimes because, like I said, the little girl in me sometimes wants a relationship with her. Also, she has no one, and that's not by chance, happenstance. She has no one because of how she's done people. How she's done people really bad, and you know, so it's like she don't have anybody. So I feel my empathy won't allow me to, like, when she's rushed to the hospital at times because of her health and stuff. Like, those were times I wasn't speaking to her, but when I find out, I go and I I have to, I go check on her, because I don't, it's still the, like I say, it's the empathy in me, you know but then there's times where she's just like, she still goes into the habit of it's all about her. Like, if I call her, she'll, I ask her how she's doing, what's going on and everything like that. She doesn't she doesn't reciprocate that. It's like, me, and I have this, and I do this, and I have this going on, and this is going on, and da da da, you know. And so it gets frustrating at times because sometimes I just, like I said, there's inner work that I am doing, my inner child work, to heal that part of me, because like, yes, I like I said, I know I'm not going to get what I'm looking for here. So I did make amends with that. Like I said, I wrote it out and it did feel good, but sometimes there's just times, not as often as it used to be, and the crazy thing is, when I told her that the last time we spoke, I told her I needed some time. I needed some time, just to get myself together mentally and stuff. She was like, okay. So weeks had went past, and I'm thinking to myself, well, she, and I don't know if this was right or not. I was like, well, is she going to give me a call to check on me to see, weeks has been past. But then, like I said, I go into that, then I have to remember that that is not that person. I'm looking for me. I'm looking for me. I would do that, and I have to stop doing that. I guess it happens out of habit, but you know, um, hey, you know, one day, um, it, I guess I'll be eventually stop doing that, and I am working on that now, So, um, yeah, so that is the relationship, you know, pretty much with my mom. And I'm gonna be honest with you. She said that well, according to her, she's been clean for over 2 years now. July made 2 years. But sometimes when I speak to her, she sounds like the old mom. She don't sound like the new mom. Sometimes, I know the sound. Sometimes it sounds a little, sketchy in her voice, so, but I can't call it. And I'm so scared to ask her, like, are you back getting high? You know, because one would believe, if you've been getting high for over 30 years, you and then you're telling me you're just gonna stop cold turkey. You understand what I'm saying? Like, but also I'm wondering, was she strong enough because they found a hole in her lung, and they told her if she does drugs anymore, she can meet her demise that way. So I'm not sure. Not sure, but you know, time will tell. you know. So, but so guys, thank you for hanging out with me in this beautiful park. Yeah, and I thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoy it. I hope you got something out of it. It's a part of my self care. It's a part of my journey of, telling my story, like I said. And until next time, blessings.